Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the president of United in Peace, Inc. I want to first let everyone know, like I do every time I have this show, is letting people know that this show would not be possible without the direction of the producer of this show, the individual that helped me get the topics for this show to report out to our viewing and listening audience. She also is very instrumental in making sure I get the proper guests for this show. One of the things that I want to say is I couldn't do this without her help, her support, and her faith in God, not in me, to make this possible. And that's none other than the chairman of United in Peace, Inc., Madam Chairman Terry Marsh. I'm also blessed by God that he allowed me to be her husband. With that, I want to say to God be the glory. There's a lot of things that's been happening. One of the things that's getting my attention is that I'm of the opinion that there's a lot of people within the city of Chicago and the county of Cook that feels that the Madam President of Cook County, Tony Prattwinkle, and the mayor of the city of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, and Superintendent Johnson needs to come together with all the other individuals that have a vested interest, including myself, to help turn the tide against this senseless violence by pooling our resources. Well, Gator, what resource do you have? I can get the message out to tell the people this is what the people need to do. I heard Mayor Lightfoot's State of the City address. I was in the setting at the little cafe over on 49th and Lakeshore Drive. Everyone was very attentive. They turned up the show. Hey, you. Have a seat. They turned up the show. I got a guest. My guest just got here. Okay, thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay.
I apologize.
Oh, no. I was getting into sharing a conversation where everyone is saying that Mayor Lightfoot and, I'm sorry, to my viewing audience. Deidre, could you introduce yourself to them?
Deidre Bauman. Good evening.
Okay. Deidre, they telling me something here to check my mark. Okay. I'm sorry, Deidre.
Oh.
Right here. That's the mark they talking about. There you go.
Thank you.
There you go. You know, before I get back to the conversation, I want to let everybody know that this charming young lady is a candidate, and she's running for judge of Cook County. I know a lot of you have been seeing her all around. She got the signs, Deidre for judge. She was the only candidate that had enough sense during the Pride Parade to have her posters all along the route of the Pride Parade. During the Bulletin Day Parade, she was the only candidate for judge that had her literature, her fans, and everything out there saying she's running for judge in 2020. During Danny Davis' parade on the west side. So So everybody's saying, Gator, we see you everywhere, And they see me in Humboldt Park. They caught that other gator that was in the lagoon. He had nothing else to do. He just hanging around. Me, I didn't hang around the lagoon. I'm trying to get people to get out and vote for Deidre. Something else that's about her. She was one of the individuals that took care of the Bear Oak situation. I'm trying to get this correct for us, Deidre. Okay, it's a work in process.
Yeah, now this is from 2010. The Bear Oak situation actually came to light in July of 2009.
And you were the attorney, right?
And I was the first attorney to file in Chancery Court for class action and to get a receiver appointed for the cemetery.
Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah, right.
So,
right.
So it was actually a year before that. Longtime client of mine called and said, we can't get into the cemetery. They won't let us in. We can't see our loved ones. What do we do? I investigated and immediately went into court and obtained an order for a receiver, an order ordering the cemetery to maintain its records, to maintain evidence, and so forth.
Because if you wouldn't have did that, that's what I love about an attorney, a civil rights attorney especially, that listen to her client's concerns and take her legal mind and apply it to help address her client's concern. So everyone, because if she wouldn't have done that, I know a lot of lawyers, all they're concerned about is the retainer and then get back with me and then they don't listen to their clients. But if she was one of those attorneys, the Bear Oak situation wouldn't have got exposed like it did. And could you elaborate what the outcome was?
Well, and you're certainly right about some attorneys, because ultimately what happened was the cemetery and the owners filed for bankruptcy.
Okay.
So there were quite a number of attorneys involved in that process, but once it became clear that there would not be necessarily a lot of money available for people, not everyone stayed to represent the families, which I'm honored to have done so and to have sat on the bankruptcy creditors committee.
Wow.
And ultimately, we did get $13 million into the estate, and that not only went for to help really, you can't compensate people.
That's right.
For this stuff, but it was a little bit. But the majority of the money went to maintain the cemetery in perpetuity, which means the cemetery will continue to operate, and people will continue to see their loved ones over, hopefully forever. Hopefully forever.
What you did, if I'm not correct, please correct me, wasn't Emmett Till's burial site there as well?
Emmett Till's was, yes.
Right.
It was not the, his site was not disturbed, thankfully. And ultimately, about 2.9 acres, I think, was identified by the sheriff's office as being the area where the grave sites were, in fact, disturbed. They found, I think, 2,000 remains of sorts.
Right, they found that people was buried in the site. You may find two bodies in some of the sites, and
That's right. And what they were doing is reselling the plots.
Wow.
So they would dig up previously buried sites, dig them up, take the remains and dump it in a general pile,
Wow.
garbage, and then, and resell the site. So it's disgusting
back up.
what was going on. And this is a very historic
It is.
cemetery.
My mother's buried there. I got brothers, my father buried there,
Yeah.
and I'm thank God that their sites weren't disturbed. But what's needed on the bench, in my opinion, is individuals such as yourself that hear the needs of others and you get involved. And the work that you do, that I've witnessed, that you've done, for lack of a better phrase, you get selfishly involved. I mean, you take it real personal. You take it to heart.
I do.
And could you share with our viewing audience, because it's your audience now too, why did you make the decision that you want to be a judge? I know you ran several times,
I have.
and one of the obstacles that I'm seeing, it appears like it's a movement afoot to try to stop you because you're Jewish, and a lot of people feel that they don't see how a Jewish candidate running for judge could get the votes in Cook County. And I want to tell you, I helped dispel that myth
You did.
when I did the thing with
Justice Hyman.
Justice Hyman.
You did, and yes, I'm very involved with the Jewish community. I'm past president of the Decalogue Society. I don't know if that is a reason, but I don't think it's a coincidence that there have been virtually none, other than Justice Hyman,
Right.
who have run countywide. And prevailed. And part of it is, yes, the size of the Jewish community, where the Jewish community votes, whether they vote, and what sort of political power they have.
But
And
you can't scream about diversity being on the ballot or being in the judiciary. And to me, be it the LBGTQ, I'm hoping I'm getting it right. I'm not trying to diss anybody. I'm trying to get the alphabets right. I used to be stuck on another alphabet, and they said that was criminal, so I'm real cognizant about the alphabets, be it the FBI or the DEA or the alcohol tobacco file. But one of the things that's key, for anyone to feel that any person based on their race or religion shouldn't have a right to be on the bench, is saying that they feel that no one other than someone that's Irish should be on the bench. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. Because this is a very opinionated show, and I respect everyone's opinion. But we got to keep it real, because the most important elections in 2020, I know it's a presidential election. I know it's a United States Senator election coming. I know the state's attorney election. But the most important election is the election of the judiciary, the judges. That's why I asked her to come onto my show and let you know who she is. Everybody asking who she is. Everybody know Deidre. Boy, but you ain't seen none yet. You know what I mean? We're gonna be everywhere.
we are.
We
are.
And
in sort of counterpoint, or maybe in addition to what you're saying about diversity is not just black and white,
correct.
or
Correct.
black, brown, and what have you. Diversity is diversity of religion, diversity, sexual orientation,
That's right.
Diversity even in practice area. What experiences do people bring to the bench? What have they done throughout their career? What is their experience? What is their knowledge?
Right.
And that's diversity in a broader sense.
Right. One of the things, glad you brought that up, because as you know, I was very instrumental in the election of J.B. Pritzker.
Yeah.
And the way you just defined diversity is 100% that made me just dive in. Everybody thought I was a walking billboard.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, it wasn't just the Democratic primary, it was the various people who he helped, like the wrongfully convicted.
That's right.
You follow what I'm saying?
That's right.
Okay, so I knew that it was important for him to get elected, but he understand the individual that's wrongly convicted ought to be free.
That's right.
Here's a governor, and we sin, because now that the marijuana piece is happening, once you become judge, okay, there's going to be individuals that's going to be getting expungement from having marijuana cases.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So when you see an individual that's willing to put his money where his mouth is, he did it at Northwestern, you can understand him having a certain type of feeling about those that ought to be pardoned.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I want to let y'all know too, because you don't want to, for transparency. I believe in her so much. I'm doing everything that I can that's legal and right. I'm not going to vote 5 times. But I'm going to vote for her. I'm going to push for others to vote for her, because she's a judge that we need on the bench. And so don't let everybody know who you are. If you got a phone number where they can call you,
Sure.
so give them that first.
Thank you. And I'm honored to be here, and I'm of course honored to have Gator's help and support,
Right.
and his confidence in me. Just it fills me. So
And one
thank
other
you,
brother.
Gator.
Thank you, and one other brother. If you're watching this show down there, I still got on the suit, I just ain't got the sleeves to the coat. That's a little private joke. That me and the other guy that believes in her, along with Gillespie Taylor and a host of others. I speak about Donnell, I call him the painter. They say, well, Gabe, what do you mean he's the painter? Well, all those posters and things that you see with Deidre, be it around Boys Town, be it on Broadway up north, be it in Schaumburg, be it in Evanston, be it in Robbins, everywhere. That's because of the work and the dedication of Brother Donnell.
That's right.
And I'm saying that because sometimes people don't realize that the individual come rain, sleet, or snow, that make sure that your sign is out there. People don't give them their props. But I do, because I work with him on a lot of campaigns. And I'm glad, Deidre, that you was willing to reach out and have him on board, but you've been knowing him for a long time.
Darnell and I have known each other for a long time, and I love him, and I've loved working with him these years. But yeah, he is a bedrock of the campaign.
Yeah,
Can't do it without him.
Yeah.
And it is so important, you mentioned the signs, and it's important that people see the name.
Right.
And you asked, for how you can learn more about me. Deidre Bauman for Judge.com. Remember that name, but look me up. Educate yourself about who I am, what I've done, and my website is It's being developed. We're going to add pictures
Next
as we
time
go
that she be on
through.
this show, whether she's sitting there or not, she will be with me because I have on a sweatshirt with on it. I'm going to do the same thing I did for JB, I'm going to do for you.
Thank
you know what I
you.
mean? Because the name of the game is to let people know who you are. Okay? It's a old saying, who's who. And like I tell everyone, you just walk into a room and everybody will say, who is that? Then you become who's who. You know what I mean? You know, there are other races, you know, but I'm going to talk about them because I got another part of the show because I don't want it to rub off on you as I give my public thing that's happening. You know, you get a chance to hear the mayor's state of the
I did
city?
not. I
Beautiful.
did not.
It was beautiful. I
She's
want to
got
say
a-
hooray, hooray, hooray to the mayor. You know, I find myself becoming a fan of hers because even though I was with Tony Prattwinkle, it's encompassing that now that she's the mayor, we have to do all that we can to help her to be a great mayor.
I agree with you.
And I don't need her permission to do that. And one of the lines that I heard her say, she was reaching out to the people to get the people to give her suggestions on how she can get out of that $830-some million hole.
She didn't create this
She didn't
problem.
create it.
This problem has been created over a long period of time.
Hey, and
Right.
she have really, just my opinion, she really have nothing to bargain with because Mayor Daley done sold off all the assets. When it's a factual, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm just telling you what you can Google. It ain't what Gator says, ain't no Gator theory. Okay? Ron didn't leave her too much because he borrowed a lot, so she got to be careful about borrowing. But I like the way that she was preparing the people to understand that for the services that you're asking for and what you're going to need, she got to find the revenue. She don't want to raise taxes, but she know that's on the table.
The money has to
The
come
money
from somewhere. From somewhere.
And I commend on that. And so, Mayor, this is my public statement on what I feel you can help. You need to do an audit of your law department and the pinstripe patronage of them hiring private law firms that's constantly charging the city on cases that they know they cannot win. One such case is Mark Maxon's case. Here's an individual that was locked up 20-some years. He got out because the DNA was found on another guy that was locked up for murder. He stabbed someone to death, and his DNA was the same DNA that they found at the scene of the murder of this guy that was one of the John Birch torture victims. He got a certificate of freedom. Certificate of freedom, right?
Of innocence.
Of innocence, thank you. Certificate of innocence. The young guy that committed that hideous crime, he has confessed on video. He has wrote letters to the families of the little kid that he killed, as well as wrote a letter to Mark Maxon for the harm that he caused him to be locked up. I think the man has been out, this is 2019, I believe he's been out since 2017, I believe. The lawyers, Mayor Lori, that they hired They have not come back to try to talk about a settlement or anything.
And this
But
is a civil rights
it's a civil
lawsuit
rights
that
lawsuit.
he brought for...
Keep right.
Okay.
Right. You know what I mean? And so they charging the city anywhere from $300 to maybe $400 an hour. They go to court, they come up with all this paperwork and all of this. President, Madam President, that's what I was calling Ron. I didn't say Madam President to Ron. I said President when I speak before the city council and all that. Because I heard everybody else saying, call him President. I didn't know he's the mayor. So Mayor Lori, saving the few millions that you paying lawyers that they know they cannot win a case. Those few millions that you're saving may seem small to the 833 million. But if you save 4 million, then you got 830. Okay? And I'm saying this, because after you spend all the millions of dollars with them lawyers, you still end up settling a multi-million-dollar suit. Once this man get found guilty, that confess to the crime, get found guilty, or he get a plea deal, which is still a guilty, had your people, your lawyers, reached out and talked to the lawyers of Mark Maxson, it's going to be a different situation. What you could have solved for a few millions, going to end up being in the double digit of millions. Check them. That's just me. I put in a FOIA 2 months ago to try to get how much money they were spending on the Mark Maxson's case. And the little system that they got up there where you go online, you can find this out, that is doing, you need to check that too. I think you need to get back. You can do what you want to do. I'm not lecturing you. You could get rid of that system, that automated, whatever it is, and let the people talk to a voice. Because when they had a voice, they got the FOIAs to the people in 10 business days. But even I don't get the FOIA. If you call down there and ask how much money they spending on that Maxson case, I bet they get it to you. Because one thing I do know, when you pick up the phone and tell somebody to get you something, they get it to you. Well, that's enough of that. You know,
Yeah.
Back to the matter at hand. March 17th, 2020. We're going to elect her. She'll be back on this show again if she ain't too busy. But I'll have that shirt. I'll have that web page. I'll have everything to let you know that it's very important that we have her for the Circuit Court of Cook County.
Thank you so much, Gator.
Love you. I'm there for you.
I love you too.
Okay then. Now we're going to get to this situation here. Everybody want to know what's happening with Larry Hoover. There we go. All right. Now give me a chance to get my guest out here so she's going to do what she got to do. Hey, just make sure you tell Donnell I did mention him.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. And tell him I still got on the suit with no sleeves. Back to the matter at hand. Larry Hoover files Larry Hoover, Sr., filed a federal lawsuit against the Supermax Penitentiary. The reason that he's doing this, because his lawyer, by by the name of Mr. Moore. He's the same young man that, his name is Justin Moore. He's the same young man that everybody saw when Kanye West was in the Oval Office and he asked the president to free Larry Hoover. This young brother says the Fremont County, he said on June 26, 2019, his office attempted to send Mr. Hoover mail correspondence that involved a previously pending lawsuit involving him and the prison staff, denying him the ability to communicate with his family. To the surprise of Mr. Moore's office and to Mr. Hoover, that mail correspondence was rejected by the prison and returned due to it being strangely classified as gang-related information. Now, how can lawyers' information be classified as gang-related information? He says also, in response to the dog whistle from the USP AdMax, Mr. Hoover has filed a federal civil rights claim against the prison in order to prevent them from violating his right to speak to his legal representation. He has a right to speak to his lawyers. We all know that. And the thing that gets me, when his grandson went to visit him, and he had on a Halloween, little costume, his face wasn't covered. He wanted to just show his granddaddy, I think the young man may be 10 or 11 years old, maybe older than that. But he can't touch his grandchildren. He can't touch his wife. He can't touch his children. He can't touch his sons. So this is the only communication that he has with his family. But they try to say that the costume that the young man had on, they used the same classification as if that was gang signatures or gang colors or whatever it is. And I don't think they let the young man in to visit. Everyone knows that the president may be considering freeing Larry Hoover or give him a pardon or commute his sentence. He got 6 life terms for a drug case. Al Capo, I think it is, major drug dealer, international, global drug dealer. A lot of murders attributed to his cartel. He escaped out of penitentiary twice in Mexico. The United States get him, bring him here to this country to have trial. He get found guilty. They sentence him to 1 life term. 1 life term. They get Larry 6 life terms, as if he gonna be resurrected after 1 of the life terms. No murders. But I just pray that God touched the president's heart and he made the decision to free Larry Hoover. With that, I want to say I've been fighting for the man to be free for over 20-something years. The man been locked up 45 years of his life. half of that up under solitary confinement with no communication other than the guards, where he see them every day when they try to feed him or when they feed him. Inhumane circumstances. But I'm a God-fearing man, and I remember people saying that Mandela would never be free, and we know the rest of that story. Now we get to pot dealers concede records expunged too. Foxx says that she announced plans to erase thousands of minor convictions. There will be an entire industry that is up where people are going to be free. I just want to say hooray, hooray to Kim Foxx, and hooray, hooray to the non-for-profit organization that she's doing this with. I believe it is let me see. It's an organization coming out of California. It's a non-for-profit organization that's going to be helping her to with this expungement. Okay. Because of the new law that they signed about the marijuana becoming legal for people to smoke. So in an interview, Chicago Sun-Times, Foxx says she is also considering wiping clean the records of some convicted weed dealers and individuals caught with more marijuana than will be legally allowed, 30 grams, or just over an ounce. But that's going to be on the case-by-case situation. Okay. Let me get this for you. Anyway, it's an organization that's been doing this in other states because it's going to be anywhere from 8,000 to maybe 20,000 individuals who will be receiving letters saying that their record is expunged, and I understand the governor is talking about giving them pardons so that they can be able to get an apartment. Because if you got a record, it's hard to get residency or somewhere to live. There's some apartment buildings that won't allow you in there based off your past criminal record. So I want to say to Kim Foxx and that non-for-profit organization that's doing this, the non-for-profit organization is helping Cook County and not charging Cook County. Let me say it again. They're helping Cook County at no cost. That's what I believe is happening. And I want to say hooray, hooray to Kim Foxx, and hooray, hooray to the President, Tony Preckwinkle. Hooray, hooray to the Governor, J.B. Pritzker, and the legislative body, the state senators, state representatives that helped put that marijuana cannabis bill together. You know, I'm old school, I say the reefer bill. Put the reefer bill together to help individuals start their life off new. So January the 1st, they're going to have something new. But there's something that's very interesting too. I just saw that in the news here. Yeah, it is. Illinois They say Illinois awards its first 5 recreational marijuana licenses. What's so wild to me, in my opinion, is that all 5 of the licenses is under control by one company. And the name of that company is, there's going to be 5 shops that receive licenses are peppered throughout Illinois. In Naperville, Mundelein, Joliet, Effingham, and Canton. And now have the state's permission to sell marijuana to anyone over the age of 21, starting January the 1st. That's all downstate. Okay? Down 57 on the highway. Some industry players worry about the fate of shops located in towns that end up banning recreational sales because their only customers will be consumers with medical cards. Naperville's debate in particular has drawn attention. A recently formed group is set to hold a rally this Saturday, tomorrow, in the western suburb in hopes of persuading the city council to ban pot sales. Chicago-based Green Thumb Industry owns 4 of the 5 shops that received licenses Thursday and has a 50% ownership stake in the 5th, and that's the clinic in Effingham. Did you hear what I'm saying? Chicago-based company, Green Thumb Industries, owns 4 of the 5 shops that's going to open up downstate, and 50% of the shop that's opening up in Effingham. A lot of African Americans have been coming to me and saying they want to make sure they get a chance to have a dispensary. So I want to say this publicly to those that have been coming and asking me. You got a right to ask your state representative and your state senator to help vote for recreational cannabis to be in the state of Illinois, inclusive of the county of Cook and Chicago. You owe it to yourself to Google Chicago-based Green Thumb Industry. Since they're based in Chicago, they should have no problem with adhering to make sure that African Americans get their fair share, even if they had to go into partnership with Chicago-based Green Thumb Industry. This is what you do. This is what I would do if I had the interest of having a dispensary. I would reach out to them and say, I would like to be a part of your diversity as African Americans, or if you open up one in Lawndale, Garfield Park, Inglewood, Pilsen, Humboldt Park, Chatham, Pullman. Reach out to them through your elected officials, be it your alderman, because homebody rule make the determination if they're going to allow a dispensary to be in their neighborhood. I read a column the other day where John Cass, he asked a question. And he says, will state's attorney Kim Foxx plead the fifth? And he did it on his podcast. And he was asking, I believe it was the former appellate court judge, Sheila O'Brien. He says, Sheila O'Brien asked the question, will Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx, the key player in the Jussie Smollett hate crime hoax fiasco, invoke the Fifth Amendment when questioned by the special prosecutor, Dan Webb? Everyone is shocked that Tunin picked Dan Webb to be the special prosecutor. I wasn't, because it was Tunin that picked Dan Webb to be the special prosecutor in the Koshman case, where the little guy got jumped on by a relative of the Daley's family. There was an altercation, and a member of Daley's family hit the guy, knocked him down, he hit his head, and he died. The police department, everybody, from what I'm reading, and the Sun-Times wrote so much about it, I'm quite sure they got this separate archive. So you can go on and Google Sun-Times and check out the Kaufman case. Dan Webb became a special prosecutor in that. And he brought Daley's, he said Daley's son not Daley's son, but Daley's nephew, whatever it is, relative, was responsible. He saw the wrong where the police officers, from beat officers all the way up, I think the sergeants or detectives, covered it up. He said he found no wrong in what the police did. He cut them loose. He let them go. Daley's nephew, he gets 60 days, not in the county jail, not in the penitentiary. It was in another county. And he paid for his stay. 60 days, I think 60 days on house arrest. But the thing that got me was she feel that Kim Foxx would take the fifth. But what really caught my attention was that John Cass makes the statement that he's no friend of Dan Webb. He said Kaufman lingered on life support for 11 days, time enough for everyone to get their story straight. Detectives didn't interview key witnesses until after the plug had been pulled. Tunin named Webb as a special prosecutor. It says, Tunin named Webb as special prosecutor. Daley was protected Vaneco got 60 days in jail. Files have been destroyed. Interviews were skipped. Police weren't charged with misconduct or obstructing justice. Webb said the statute of limitations had ran out. That's the same special prosecutor that Tunin hired at the cost of Cook County to be the special prosecutor in the Smollett case to see what wrong did Kim Foxx do in that. Kaufman, a short, slight 21-year-old, for his first legal drinks on Division Street, died after being punched by R.J. Vaneco, then a hulking weightlifter who ran off. O'Brien did not criticize Webb, but John Cass let it be known that he's not a big fan of Webb. He said Webb built a wall around the Daly family and their law enforcement handmaidens in the death of David Coxman. So much for the special prosecutor that was appointed in the Smollett case to try to get an impression like Kim Foxx did something wrong. But when the judge made a decision, he let it be known that Kim Foxx didn't have a conflict of interest in that case. They don't want to speak about that, but that's a part of his court order. Something else that's grabbing everybody's concern is the fact that people are tired, and I'm going to close my show off with this. They want the mayor and the superintendent of police to meet with the president of the county board, Tony Prattwinkle, and others to help turn the tide on senseless violence. It was brought to my attention and others through a press release that the mayor spoke before the Sun-Times editorial board here recently, I think Friday, may have been this Friday, today, and said somewhere or another that Tony Prattwinkle refuses to meet. Tony Prattwinkle come back and said she had reached out to them several times. The last time this came up, she had wrote a letter stating that she had reached out to them and asked them to come and let's sit together. This Friday, or whenever she went, the mayor went before the Sun-Times editorial board, she gave the impression like Tony Prattwinkle don't want to meet. We got to stop this. So mayor, superintendent of police, I'm sure you know that if it came to task where it was asked for the president to show how she's been reaching out to you and what days she reached out to you, it's going to be some time-stamped documentation, be it emails, be it texts, letters inviting the mayor and the superintendent to come and be a part of the body. It takes all of us. The mayor and the president of the county board, the mayor of the city of Chicago, y'all got resources that can help the community. Y'all come together, the governor can give his resources to the county and the city to help with this violence situation. And with that, I want to say, to God be the glory. Everybody got to come together. The state of the city address that the mayor gave said as much. We all have to come together to make it happen. So, mayor, walk over to the county side or invite the county board president over to your side. You're talking to the chief judge and you're talking to the state's attorney. In my last show, I said hooray, hooray for y'all coming together. So with that, I want to say to God be the glory and good night.